and welcome to episode 14 of the Being Youthful podcast. I am Kim Beegler, and I am the owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill here in Halsey, Oregon. So we are between Salem and Eugene, basically, kind of halfway in between there. And yeah, welcome back. It's been a couple weeks. I think I missed a week, and so I'm back, and we'll talk about why. But before I forget, you can find us all over the place. Youthfulfiberfarm.com is our main website, and that's where our shop is also. We are also on Instagram at Ewethful Fiber Mill. We're also on Instagram at Being Youthful Podcast. And then we're on Facebook at Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill. And I'm already warm, so it's really warm here. Much warmer than it should be. We're supposed to be 93 tomorrow, and the mill can be nice and cool in the morning if it cools off at night, and then by the time it gets warm, we have no insulation in the building, so it gets really, really toasty quick. So I'm here in the morning so that I can get some stuff done before it gets too hot, because the mill equipment doesn't like it when it gets too hot. So I've got Wish sitting next to me here. She finally took it down a few notches and decided it's okay if she just lays down next to me. So that's nice. She's been a little, she's very amped up when I get here in the morning and tries to trip me all over the place. So she's doing well though. Still no urge. I actually opened a window and put a screen in it and took her over to it today. And she was like, oh, cool. Where are you going? No interest. So anyway, welcome back. And sorry, it's been, I think I skipped a week, like I said, and it's just been a lot going on this time of year. And I haven't had the vlog during farming season, so this will be a new thing, and I'll share it as the season goes on. But Mitch and his dad are grass seed farmers here. That's why we are down here. And this is kind of the amping up of the season. We didn't get a lot of rain. Not quite enough rain, I should say, and so they started irrigating the fields a little bit early this year. And irrigating is literally basically watering the fields that we need to water, and it just kind of throws the schedule off a bit. The pumps have to be turned on and off at certain times and moved and things like that. So it's kind of the first big adjustment to the season. And now we're kind of waiting. The fields are pollinating, and just in case you haven't watched, why would you know, we grow grass for seed. So basically the grass gets really, really tall. It's specific types of grass. It grows really, really tall. Then we cut it. We don't. They do. I don't do that. I can turn off a pump if you watch my Instagram. That's about as far as my farming skills go there. But so they cut the fields, they dry for I think about 10 days, and then they start combining, which is the process of actually pulling the product, the grass seed, off of the ground. So everything's pollinating here right now. If you have any sort of grass allergies, this is not the place to be, or tree allergies for that matter. But literally there is a yellow haze that settles on everything, and it's over the fields. And if you go out and it's a little breezy, there's just like tunnels of pollen coming up off the field. So it's good for the grass, but it is not great for allergies. So anyway, so we're kind of in a little holding pattern because it's pollinating, which means generally 2 to 3 weeks after that is when it's go time, and they cut, and then we just fly through the summer. And I take on a lot more obviously at home and with the animals and all the things. So the first couple of weeks are a bit of a transition, and then towards the end of the summer I get a little grumpy. So I'll try not to, well, whatever. You guys can see what you see. So that's going on, which adds a little bit, and Mitch is running around trying to get kind of last minute projects at the house done. And we've had to irrigate our pastures at home for the animals. So that all takes so much time and energy. So anyway, and yeah. So what else is going on? We, had our first fiber festival, so that was exciting. That was just last weekend in Scio, Oregon, which is a little town about 40 miles maybe northeast of us. It went really well. It was so nice to see people that I haven't seen in a long time. A lot of people came out that wouldn't necessarily normally come out to SIO, so that was fun, and just in general it was a fun day. It was also exhausting because all of us vendors are out of practice, and I'm going to show you a little clip on it because I did a little tour, walked around. So if you've never been to a fiber festival, you can kind of take a little tour, or if where you are there are not fiber festivals yet, this can like get you feeling like you were there. So we had that. I brought in a ton of new chickens onto the farm, and that has been great, but a lot of extra work because we have so many. So we brought in 22 new hens. Most of them are still laying. They are from a client who is moving their farm, and this was one thing that would make their move easier, so I took them. So now we have about 31 chickens, I think, and I have a little, well, we have a farm tour later, so you'll see that. Actually, very soon you'll see that. So that's been fun. And the chickens, we kind of separated out the new chickens from our chickens at first, and they were in two different pastures, not meeting each other. And then we lost one of our chickens. That one of my old chickens got taken down by a bald eagle. So we were like, okay, you guys are, because they were kind of up in a tree area of our property, and the bald eagle caught onto that within about a week. So as soon as that happened, it was like, game on, you're all gonna meet. And our old chickens went flying back down to their old spot, and we're very happy. And actually it's been pretty peaceful considering our clients' chickens are very respectful, which is nice. I have had some chickens not so respectful. So they're all kind of staying separate but together. It's funny to watch them as they slowly mingle a little bit. And yeah, so it's just been a little extra upkeep. I've been trying to make sure I get up in time because I don't want all of these 30 chickens stuck in their coop for too long when they wake up. So and just a different level of cleaning, a different level of feeding, and trying to balance all these chickens and find all their eggs. What else? My mom went sale pending on a house, which added just extra craziness up here. She is moving to the town just south of us. So she'll be between us, our farm, and Eugene, which is nice. She's moving up from LA, so she's got a big move coming up. So she went sale pending on a house. So I went and looked at it. We talked about it extensively. She hasn't actually seen it yet, but she is pending on it, and she's coming up today. I pick her up because she has her inspection and stuff tomorrow. So that's been exciting, and it's just been a lot of stuff. It's been a lot of stuff. And I'm working on Fiber Club and Yarn Club for June, and it turns out I did not have enough wool for Yarn Club, so I had to go back to the farm and do another wool buy. Had to. The only reason it was a had is that I hadn't planned time-wise on it, but I got that wool and then some. So my wool stash is getting big. So anyway, I think what we'll do is go to the farm tour, check in on all the animals. You can see the lambs. Everybody got shorn too. So I think I didn't take a video of shearing because honestly I was exhausted and I just didn't feel like it. It was the day right after the festival, and I was just tired and was trying not to overdo it and to rest a little bit, and so I didn't. But I do have an old little clip that I also have up on Instagram, but I think I'll share it here because same shear. Michael's in this video and he didn't come out for this shearing, but Corey was there, and so you'll see some naked sheep. We didn't shear the lambs, just all of the older sheep. And so it's just been busy. It's been busy. It's that time of year, and I get a little overwhelmed, and then usually I have like one big meltdown, which I've had a couple days ago. And then Mitch talks me off the ledge and we get back into it, and I wake up the next day and I'm like, let's go. So not that I will only have one, but that was the one for maybe this month. Okay, we're gonna do the farm tour. You can see everybody. You even get to see, I hadn't seen this before, but how the chicken, I had this sheet up because that blue jay, somebody, I think it was Wendy, you comment about that effing blue jay. Yeah, the blue jay's still around. It's still wreaking havoc on my eggs when it can. So anyway, I have like a sheet situation set up, and I have since edited the sheet situation so it's not so dirty. But you get to see how the chicken, because I had never seen, like, how are they getting around this sheet to get into their nesting box? So anyway, it's kind of fun. I hadn't seen it before either, and I managed to catch it while I was doing the farm tour. So I will be right back with you guys. See you in a minute. Good morning, everyone. Farm tour time. I am in the shop. I was getting food together. I have to tell you this quick story, but I'm going to turn that you don't have to stare at me in the morning the whole time. This is where all of the feed for the morning is, and you can see Velma over here sniffing around, and there's a little spot on one of those shelves. Elsie may have to go check it out because she's the one that just found it. Yep, that little corner where there was like 4 pieces of cat food, because we have our shop cat that lives out here. She's pretty feral, and her food sits right here. And Mitch has this is Mitch's shop, even though, just so we can see, the wool stash grew a bit because the Shetlands got shorn and it was low. And actually, I'm not shaming myself about my stash. Anyway, the cat food is there, and Mitch has this new friend in here that is a chipmunk. And he's very elusive. His name is Mike. And the chipmunk loves to just like store his kibble, or the cat's kibble, around. So the first notice of the chipmunk was when there was like 4 little kibbles. Like they tuck them in the corner. So like in the corner of the windowsill, there'd be like 4 little kibble. And the other day I had a feed bin sitting out here, and I came down and I'm like, there's like 4 little kibble. And so anyway, I just thought it was funny. And he lives kind of up in the rafters of the shop. Well, that's where he darts to when we come down. And I'm going to close this now for the day. He can eat at night. But it just was funny. He just runs around, I think, all night putting kibbles in all sorts of places. And sometimes they're not that smart because, like I said, Elsie just got it. So anyway, there's all the feed for the morning. This is where we keep our feed bags. That's the one place that is pretty mouse free because our cat lives in here. So we're gonna go down and feed the animals. So I'll be right back. Okay, I spared you turning in the corner there, but I don't know if you can see, but not our ducks, but we have all sorts of ducks and things that live down in the water right there. We are very lucky to be on that water because we have irrigation that we can pump straight out. Water here, which is, I've learned one thing being up here in the farming world, that water is key. So it's about to get super loud, and you guys, I even dropped my coffee. I didn't drop it, I left it at the top of the hill after slamming 4 sips of it, just to make this a better experience for you all. You know, I don't get that much of the coffee in before I come down here, but it's the ritual, as all of you coffee or tea drinkers know. It's the idea. So here comes the alpaca, and it's really pretty. We've had rain the last 2 days, and then it's supposed to go from like 65 up into like 85 in the next 4 days. So everybody's kind of making their way. The sheep were at the top of the hill, but because we have so many chickens now, I get up early just to let the chickens out, so the sheep all came flying down thinking it was time to eat. So there's some of the chickens. These are all new ones. The sheep are being oddly quiet. Here's all the chickens coming to see. These are all the old chickens coming to see if I have brought them anything. There's Drilla. Shorn, freshly shorn Drilla. You can see everybody's making their way in. All right, let me put some food down. It is a pretty stunning morning. All right, time to feed the sheep. Beware all, it's about to get loud. Okay. It's like taking your life into your own hands coming in here. The babies have figured out that kibble is good now. So we're endlessly fighting them off. Not really fighting them off, just trying to make sure everybody gets kibble. I'm gonna pause for a minute. Okay, so kibble's down. Jojo I didn't let her eat out of the scooper, so she's pissed. And I'm gonna leave because these 2 boys hang back until I leave. There's Johnny. And June's waiting patiently over there for me to come feed her. So we're going to go see her next. And sheep are funny. You drop one thing of food in one bin, and they start to eat it, but then they have to follow you to the next bin to see what is getting dropped in there. And as soon as I walk away, those boys will come in to eat, as you can see. All right, so June's eating. With all the new chickens, I had to start putting her food up because The old chickens, they're all working it out, but they want to eat her food. I came in one day and all the chickens were basically in her food bin. Cuddlebug's eating, and it's like I have this audience waiting for me to feed them. So we're gonna go feed them next. All right, so everybody's fed over here and sort of happy with their situation. And then the smart chickens come along and wait for them to drop kibble on the ground. There's little mama chicken. She's our chicken that loves to sit on eggs and try to have babies. There's chickens everywhere now. We lost one. So we brought in, I think 22. Cuddlebug's pissed because I haven't tied in. And we had them separate, and we had my old chickens up top by our house. And an eagle came along and took one of them down, took down Phyllis Diller. So he's very amped up because he wants more food. So I give him just a smidge more to keep him manners. He does not have them. So you can see all the chickens. They're smart. She'll drop feed along the way. The sheep they settle down. They just need that little bit of kibble to keep it real. I know, handsome. So anyway, we lost one chicken, Phyllis Diller. And never what you want to see. Of course, the dogs were in the house. So that's just how it goes. That's when we tend to lose anybody. And right now, there's lots of chickens. We'll see if they'll hang out. And if anybody in this area needs eggs, let me know. I even go into Eugene multiple times a week, so I can bring some. Here's these ladies. They're really pretty. Anyway, this time of year, the grass is really long, so it's all the grass fields are a little longer, or not a little longer, they're all like 4 feet tall, so it's a little harder, I think, for the predator birds to, can you see those two little mom and pop birds sitting on the fence? They're babies, their nest is nearby, so they're just keeping a keen eye. So it's a little harder for the predator birds to find the food as it's running through the fields when the grass is 4 feet tall. And usually we have commercial sheep out on the fields, and they have all gotten moved because farming season's about to start. And I know it sounds gross, but when occasionally the commercial sheep will die out in the field and the predator birds get to eat. And so even during lambing season, there's extra stuff for them to eat. I don't know if you can hear the alpaca or yelling at each other. Anyway, so it's not uncommon to lose a little bit, to lose what are my animals doing? Anyway, and then once the fields get cut here in a couple of weeks, there's tons of food because the fields are cut and a lot of rodents and things get killed in that process, or they're just easier to see again and the mice start moving. Everything starts moving once the fields get cut, so it's a little bit easier time for all the predator birds to find food. But until then, we will be a little extra careful, and the dogs will be out more, and Velma and Nigel will be out less, and they will be attended to by either me or the big dogs because they can also get picked up or landed on and killed. So farm life. All right, so we have one last stop for the morning, and I'm trying to keep an eye on these birds because I'm pretty sure they have found we just started letting them fully free range on Sunday, and I'm pretty sure they have found some new fun spots to lay eggs. Much more fun than, their nesting boxes. So we'll peek in and see if we can find any eggs, and I'm always on the lookout for eggs. And you can hear all of the barn swallows and see them. They get a little pissed off. You see them up there. We have a lot of barn swallows. A lot. Less than we used to have. But we're still pretty inundated. Which is good because they do eat insects. And you can kind of see, I'll see if I can peek along But you can see one kind of up there by on top of the light in a nest. They're just everywhere. And they get a little, they're not like super aggressive, but they will kind of swoop on you to tell you. And you can see their nests everywhere. See these little mud nests. So anyway, they're a little pissed off that I'm in here. And what tends to happen, farm life again, country, nature, all those things, is that they'll start to knock each other's babies. They'll knock each other's nests after they start having babies. So we'll come in for a while and there will be little deceased babies everywhere. But competition for food. So here we go. That sheet is gross. I've got to change that out, but no eggs yet. I don't think it's pretty. They don't like to lay. That's one of their laying spots. And then they crawl into the sheets here, which I kind of was wondering how they do that. But we just got a little sneak peek of her going in there. That was fun. I've kind of wondered how they get behind the sheet. It's very skillful. So you can see the sheet kind of covers up. So she just jumped up on the box and then just started moving the sheet over. So there you go. We all learned something today. Anyway, and now she's like, I want in too. Okay, guys, I think I probably bored you enough with farm life. This is another spot, but it's a bit early for eggs. So, like I said, they like to, and this girl's going in here down underneath. She's about to go in and start laying. So we're going to leave everybody alone and let them do their thing. All right, guys, you had a good tour with me, and I'll see you back in the mill. Okay, I'm back. I hope that you enjoyed that. What else has been going on? We had Fiber Club since the last time. I think I was talking, or I was getting it out the door and I didn't want to quite talk about it yet, but the fiber that they had for this last Fiber Club was BFL, Blue Faced Leicester. A lot of knitters probably have worked with BFL. It's kind of become a little bit more of one of the common breed specific yarns that is out there. It is a really lovely yarn. Hand spinners love it too. I have a little sample lock here so you can see if I can get it nice and clear. And you can see all those tiny little crimps in there. It's hard for it to focus in on the tiny crimps, but we'll see if we can get it to. Lots of tiny little, they're like tiny little French fry crimps. So, and this is like a mid 20s micron range. So BFL tends to be a next to skin wool. It's not going to be as soft as a merino, but it can, for most people, it can be worn next to skin. And I thought I'd show you just to keep and usually BFL, this is a little bit shorter, which is how, actually it's not crazy short. It's probably it's probably 4 inches or so. Once you stretch it, because look at all that bounce in it. I mean, let me pull another piece out here. You can kind of see if I pull it out and then actually stretch it, all that crimp stretches out. And that's the crimp that takes your wool back in after you've been wearing something and it stretches a little bit and then it seems to go back in. That's literally what it is that crimp kind of pulling back in a little bit. So talking about wool not being generic, here's some other BFL I have that's a little bit less. And then so here is, I think this was the Lincoln. And you can see how big those crimps are compared to the tiny little crimps. Pull that other one out. Tiny little crimps in that. And then just to go back a little bit, there's your Shetland. So there's Shetland. Now this is not all Shetland, this is more of the double coated Shetland, but there's a double coated Shetland, there's your Lincoln, there's your BFL. So different, and they all perform differently when you're hand spinning them or when you're knitting them. So wool is not generic. Wool is definitely not generic, and all of it, when I'm spinning with it, all of it spins differently. So BFL, they can have really, I have seen some that have crazy long locks. So it really just depends on the grower and the breed and the sheep itself. I, of course, am trying to find a staple length that will work with my spinning machine. So no longer than 6 inches is what I'm looking for. So I don't get a ton of BFL for multiple reasons. The main one being it's not grown a ton here. And it's expensive a lot of the time, more expensive than and kudos for being able to charge that is what I say for those raw fleeces. I just can't afford to buy them and then turn them into an end product that I could put a decent price tag on. So, but this is somebody I know, one of the shearers I know, she's got a flock of BFL and she sells it to me at a good price. Here it is in roving form. It is really lovely, and I think it's okay for beginning spinners, and you can really see how much life it still has in it, even in a roving. It just has all that crimp still pretty obvious in it. I think this would be fine for beginners also. It still has a little bit of toothiness to it, but and there is some of this left. There's actually a little bit of BFL that is from a while ago, and then there's some of the monthly club. The monthly club had a little bit higher VM, so it's priced pretty decently because you're gonna have to pick a little bit of that. But it still makes a lovely yarn, and it's super lovely to spin. And here is the yarn. And this is I called this orange. Yeah, it's showing up a little bit, not quite the orange I wanted to show up. That's pretty decent. A little more red, but it's orange. It's straight up orange. I mean, it's more on the reddy side of orange. And this is the new tags, which if you're following on social media, you might have seen. And it says, wool for this yarn, sourced in Prineville, Oregon, farmed at Custom Colored Critters, and shepherded by Corey McAddy. So that should be showing up on most of this is kind of something new that I was adding in addition to obviously our information, but just so that people, when you're buying our yarns and our fibers, you have an idea of where the wool came from. So that's going to be on our stuff now. And I have a new mission statement that I worked on. I've been busy and I don't have it written down. I'll read it the next time. Maybe I'll put it down in the show notes, and then next time I'll talk about it a little bit more, because it has to do with wool and knowing your wool, which is everything I try to talk about, right? So there is a few skeins of this left. This was a small batch. I think maybe I got 15 to 20 skeins out of it, and I did a blue and a green in it, and that all sold at Sayo. So that was out the door. There is the orange left, and there's a little bit of pink, and there is a different green that I have dyed up. So if you are an orange lover, I am apparently an orange lover, but I don't really wear orange, but oh my God, do I love to dye it. So anyway, that is up online now. BFL. It's a great yarn. And this should be, again, I think you could wear that next to skin, but not everybody can. So another random thing that's up online, and there's only one skein of this because I just had that left. So this is 100% alpaca. This is the natural color. And it's up online. It's a 3-ply, so it's going to be a little bit of a heavy yarn, but it's really pretty. And I think it's 215 yards. So I'm going to put that one skein up. That's all I got. That's all I got. One other fun thing. Oh Lord, I can't believe this didn't sell, but you know what? That's the way it is. You make something and you think, this is totally going to be all sold at the next festival I'm at. And the other thing that happens is I'm going to work up to the last minute to make this one thing, whether it's dyeing it or doing whatever. Oh my God, it's beautiful. It won't sell. But look at this. This is like my dream come true in a top. It's got greens. It's got oranges. It's got kind of that aqua-y teal, and then some pops of pink. So I'm putting this up online. This is Pendleton. This is wool that I buy from Pendleton. So I don't process it here, but I just have fun dyeing it. And I called it Shut the Front Door because that's how I feel about it. Shut the front door on those colors. So that'll be up online too. So if you like that, snag it up because I'm sure it'll be sold at this festival, if not before then. So that's kind of some of the stuff I've been working on. I do have a mail tour, which I'll show you at the end. The festival, speaking of festivals, so I had that one, which was great, and I'm going to show you that video here in just a minute, a little tour. I also have one coming up, so if anybody is anywhere near Eastern Oregon, I'll be in Redmond, Oregon at the High Desert Wool Growers Festival. They have a market day for one day on Saturday, I don't know what day that is, I think it's the 5th, June 5th. So I will be there 9 to 4 if you want to come feel fibers. Or there's a lot of great vendors that are going to be there. They just put the vendor list out and I was like, whoa, I have not been to this festival. So I'm excited to kind of be in a different place and meet different people and clients and growers and all that stuff. So I will be there. So I'll be prepping for that a little bit. I really just didn't even break anything down before the last festival. Most of it I left ready so I can just pile the car up again and go. Okay, I'm back. In between all these breaks, I actually am running off and doing something, so I am coming back. So many fails. There's so many fails. And I should share more of the fails with you, but I actually forget, oddly enough. I try to put them behind me, but this recent fail that I talked about was for Yarn Club, which, oh my gosh, the yarn, and there will be extra of it because I had to go back and buy more because I can't give away too much, but I can tell you that the way that I decided to spin this yarn meant that I ran out of wool. So I had to go back. And again, like I said, it wasn't a big deal to go back because I actually went back to Maria's, who we did that Shepherd Saturday with, and bought more Romney from her. Because I was like, dang, I should have bought that Romney while I was there. Why didn't I buy it? And I bought some more white. But it was more that I just hadn't planned out that I was going to need to take an extra, 2 to 3 hours to drive up and buy wool. So it worked out, and I try to just like take a chill pill when I have to, and maybe have a cocktail. But I can get pretty amped up when I get to where I'm like, I just can't get everything done. The days are not long enough. So anyway, that was a fail. One other fail, super fun fail. Not fun for my boys, but so I had 4 lambs. I banded them, as we talked about. 4 boys, sorry. We had 6 lambs, but we had 4 boy lambs, which I was weathering, and by putting a band, I don't know how much I talked about that, but basically you just have this tiny little rubber band that's made for this process, and you squeeze their little testicles out and put the band on, and it cuts off circulation. Their testicles are tiny, no big deal. One of them I for sure missed, and you probably, if you've been following on social media, maybe you've seen him. Patrick is the one that I pulled from his mama, and he's got more sizable horns than the rest of them. And so basically what will happen is I will run him to my local farm vet, and she will put him under quickly and pop out. There's actually, I think, just one. I missed one. And technically he probably would not make babies because the testicle is up higher now because I banded, so there's no sac for it, right? So it's up closer to his body. So it would most likely be too warm and not be able to create anything viable. But he also will have a little bit more of a rammy personality if I don't get that taken out. So most likely I'll run him up, and she'll put him under really quick, and we'll be driving home, and they'll be screaming their heads off. That's like the whole drive. So there's a fail. I think the other 3 are okay. I may have missed like half of a testicle on one, but I think we're all okay. So I'm going to take Patrick in farming. And this is why I should, it's part of the reason that I let my rams go, is that it's just a lot. There's so much into caring for these animals, and there's certainly a lot that goes into breeding. And even after, if you have all these rams, well, the world doesn't need 1 million rams. So what do you do with the rams? For me, I wanted to keep them. Then you've got to do all these things. So it just became too much. And my shearer said something really that struck home with me recently. And I said, there's enough people breeding that I can buy gorgeous wool from all of you growers, right? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, and it's true. It is still cheaper to buy a fleece from somebody than it is to raise the animal yourself for that fleece. So it's so true. So I raised mine. I basically have mine because I love having them, but I definitely don't need to be making anymore because I can buy from the other people that are making more and doing it better than I would have potentially, or at least would have had the time for. So anyway, there's a couple fails for you. Fun. Things I've been working on. Reality, not a ton because of all the things I've just told you. But I am trying to make sure I just get a little bit of time in. So one thing I did was I finished my plaid scarf on my weaving, and I'm so proud of it. It's not perfect at all, but I love it so much. And you see, like, there's a little, you can kind of see this little warble here. That's actually not an accident. That's an accident, or a mistake, I should say. But this is just, and I'll pull up close, that's just where the yarn had a little warble in it. And I love it. I think it adds so much personality to the piece. So here she is, and I'm so proud of her. So proud of her that I'll show you. And I made this with our Romney alpaca silk. and some old, like a merino or something that I had spun here but wasn't really using. And so anyway, super proud of that. And I made the pattern up myself, and I'm getting ready to warp up the loom for the next project, and I think I might do a tapestry. We're gonna see. I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Or do some fabric to make some bags with, which would mean I'd have to actually use my sewing machine. Okay, other thing that I'm working on, and I'm spinning for it still. I've been kind of spinning away lately. I've just been in a spinning world. But my sweater is progress, so my hand spun, 50% hand spun anyway. My sweater is coming along. So here she is. Whoop. So we're doing pretty good. I think I have like another inch or so before I get to the sleeves. So this is a cardigan, and then there is a big collar, so I'll pick up and then end up doing a whole collar around. But I just love the yarn. And I'll hold it up close so you can kind of see that there is a halo to it, because this is 50% Rambouillet hand spun. You can kind of see that it's got that barber pole to it. So the white is hand spun, and the colored is mohair blend that I bought already processed and dyed. So I love how it's turning out. It's super lightweight. I'm excited about it. But I had to spin. I have one more. I have another 400 or so yards. And this is my mom's cat, remember? And then I'm spinning up one more skein, so I should have plenty for it, because I think it's about 1,000 yards. I can't remember, but that should give me 4, 8, 12. Yeah, we should be good. Do you like how I do my math? Okay, one last thing I was going to show you, because I mean, like I said, reality, I just don't have a lot of time to work on stuff, and I may end up just starting to send yarn out the door for other people to knit and crochet things up for me, samples, because I love doing it, but I don't want to have the pressure of, and you know what, there's so many YouTube channels of people that are showing what they're working on, and it's tremendous compared to what I'm working on. So I guess if you're really looking for that, you can find so many people that are doing that. But I did want to show you one last thing, and this is from my friend Sandy, who is in our fiber club. She so she hand spun this, and then the pattern is called Finicky Creations. Oh no, I think Finicky Creations is the designer. Easy Goes at DK. So I'll put it up. I'll put up correctly what it is. But she made this out of, let's see if I can get the right side. I think this is the right side. Anyway, isn't that so pretty? It is so pretty. So basically what she did with this kind of is for, I think, December Fiber Club, they got a braid, and hers, I was a little specific to her because it was one that was one of my first ones, and it wasn't quite what I was going for, but it was absolutely Sandy's color, so I gave it to Sandy because I knew she would appreciate it. So basically it was a braid like this, so she spun up the braid and then she plied it with just a solid gray, and it came out this way. Isn't that so pretty? So I will be sure to put the pattern up, but basically, I mean, the Fiber Club was 4 ounces, and then she spun up whatever. So at the most, this was 2 skeins of yarn, you know, about 8 ounces, which is something I should talk about sometime, talking about ounces and yarn weights and all that things. That and microns. I feel like both those things I could talk about. So anyway, I'll be sure to put up who that was. But I just thought it was a fun way, because a lot of people I'm shocked by our Fiber Club, how many people get the fiber, spin it that month, and come up with something knitted. Kiersey, if you're watching, I'm talking to you. Every time I see Kiersey, she's got like the most amazing things that she's worked on. So anyway, Fiber Club is still open. If you signed up now, most likely you would get it for July. But we'll see. And next show, I will have Fiber and Yarn Club to show you. And I'm so excited about both. So I think that's everything I have to show. This is long enough, and I still have what's going on at the mill video, which is a little bit secretive. I couldn't show you a ton, but I thought I would just show you a little bit about what I had going on. So anyway, I'm gonna bow out from here, let you watch what's going on at the mill, and then I'll catch you in 2 weeks. I promise I will be back, and I may even have a Shepherd Saturday or something like that in there in the meantime. So anyway, I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that you are able to get out there a little bit more and see people and hug people and feel a little bit safer out in the community. And that's all. Until next time, I'll be here. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like this, please subscribe. Tell YouTube that you liked it. Or even better yet, just come onto my online shop and find something that you'll love. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your support. Bye. Hi guys, so it's supposed to be what's going on at the mill, I realize, but I went to put in my mill tour and I realized, oh crap, I can't show that because I literally talked about Yarn Club. So instead of that, I'm just piecing together a few clips, and actually what I was doing in these was I'm spinning some, I think you'll see some BFL that I talked about in the podcast earlier. I have it running through the draw frame and then also on the spinner. So you can see a little clip of that, and then I'll let you see the video on what I had in the dryer. But I can't show you anything else. So until my Yarn and Fiber Club get their stuff, my people get their stuff. So I apologize for that, but I will have a better video next time, and enjoy the little bit that's to come. Thanks for watching. Pretty soon. And then over here, I'm not washing today, but you can see what I have on the drying rack. Get some stuff out of the way. So this is some Columbia, and it's so pretty. It has more VM than I love, but I got this wool from my shearer, who got it from one of her shearing clients, and they don't have sheep for the wool. A lot of times people have them just to graze, or maybe they're doing them for meat, and so they don't care as much about getting VM in there. And it is really pretty. You can kind of see, and nice and soft. And this Columbia actually comes from, it's not from the Imperial Farm. The sheep are from the Imperial Farm, Imperial Ranch, which did, if you all remember that Olympic sweater years ago, the wool came from them. Well, these sheep came from that farm. They're not on the farm anymore, but they were originally from their farm, and that's where these people got it from. So that's pretty exciting. And I'm gonna